Joe Biden has just extended the foreclosure ban from the end of June to the end of July. So what does this mean for real estate? What effect is this going to have on the housing market when the foreclosure ban is lifted at the end of July? In this video, I'm going to talk about that real quick and give updates. I will also share my thoughts on what I think is going to happen. As of April, there were 2.23 million homeowners in forbearance. This means they worked with the bank to avoid paying their mortgage payment for a certain period of time. This number is down from 2.5 million in March. But when foreclosures do begin again, how is this going to affect the housing market? Is this going to cause a market crash, or what's going to happen? Let's take a look at what options homeowners have when the forbearance ends. Many of the homeowners that are in forbearance should have other options to avoid foreclosure. Some of these options include loan deferrals. This means restructuring the mortgage, adding missed payments to the end of the mortgage, or refinancing entirely. They could also work with their bank to repay the missed payments over a certain number of years. If you're facing foreclosure, you could also opt to sell your house to avoid foreclosure. With prices as high as they are today, it is unlikely that there is anyone that doesn't have equity in their home to avoid foreclosure. So most likely this is the first option people are going to take if they are facing foreclosures. There is also something called as cash for keys, where the bank will pay you a certain amount of money to leave your house and hand it over to them. This is unlikely to happen that often. As I mentioned, most homeowners are going to have equity in their homes. And another option would also be deed in lieu, which means you basically just sign over your house to the bank without going through foreclosure. Again, this is also unlikely to happen in most cases, given how much equity most homeowners have in their homes. In the last year, homeowners saw a $1.5 trillion increase in their home values. So virtually everyone that owned a home before the pandemic has equity in their home, which is great for reducing the number of possible foreclosures, which would have a detrimental effect on the housing market if a ton of foreclosures came at once. At the beginning of the pandemic, it was estimated that some 40 million people could lose their homes. But now that we're getting to the end of the crisis, we're seeing that that number is going to be much lower, thanks to a lot of the programs that the government has passed, as well as lenders implemented on their own to avoid a foreclosure crisis. So what is the effect on the housing market really going to be when these houses start coming to the market, when the foreclosure ban ends? Well, we're going to see an increase in listings from homeowners that are in forbearance that cannot get out of forbearance. This will help increase the supply on the market, which will help offset the high demand some, but I don't think there's going to be a huge influx of new listings on the market even with this. This is because a lot of the homeowners have multiple ways of getting around their missed payments, as I mentioned before. I would expect to see over the next 6 months maybe 200,000 to 400,000 homes enter the market that were previously on forbearance. So that will have a slight impact in supply, as I mentioned, but not a huge impact. There is also likely to be an influx of landlords selling their rental properties due to the financial hardships they may be going through due to the eviction ban that was also implemented last year. So I do think we'll see some landlords deciding to sell their homes to get out from under these homes, especially with housing prices rising so much. I think that a lot of landlords will opt to sell their property and take the profit from the property to just get out of the rental business altogether for now. And again, this isn't going to be a huge number, but it's a little bit that will help with the market. And as I've mentioned in a lot of my other videos about the housing market, there has been a severe lack of housing inventory for more than a decade now. And with the pandemic, that did not help at all. So any increase in inventory is definitely going to be welcome to the market. And the lack of supply was the main reason that housing prices rose over 26% just in the last year alone. So I think as we go into 2022, we're going to see housing prices start to really level off and just go back to normal rates of maybe 5 to 7% increases instead of this 10, 15, or 26% increase. But there's definitely not going to be any sort of housing crash due to foreclosures or anything like that, given the laws of supply and demand. Demand is still going to remain high for quite some time, and the supply is not going to be able to reach the demand for a while. So if you're someone waiting for a housing crash to buy a house, then you're probably not going to have any luck in the next couple of years. At some point, there may be some adjustment, but over the next couple of years, housing is going to remain pretty stable. So this was my quick update about the foreclosure ban ending. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below, and if you like this video, definitely smash the like button and subscribe for more content. I'll be releasing multiple videos updating you on the housing market as things progress. So definitely subscribe to keep up to date with my content. Thank you, and I'll see you again next time.